WWE makes major mistakes on night 1 of the 2024 draft. Roman Reigns kicked out of the Bloodline. WWE's partner was thrilled with Tony Khan's negative comments about the company. WrestleMania XL's financial success finally revealed. A huge update on Vince McMahon's WWE status. Why Brock Lesnar was not in the WWE Draft pool. CM Punk provides an important injury update, and much, much more. Let's dive right in. Starting off with, WWE makes major mistakes on night 1 of the 2024 draft. So here's the scoop on the 2024 WWE Draft. Everyone was buzzing about how it would shake things up big time, but when night 1 rolled around, it was kinda meh. Sure, we saw some wrestlers hop from one brand to another, like Braun Breaker heading over to Raw and Andrade landing on SmackDown. But honestly, it didn't feel like the earth moved, you know? Number 1, Raw's choice from NXT. Choosing Kiana James in the 4th round of the draft might not have been a mistake, but there's a problem. There were only 16 picks on night 1. Carmelo Hayes got picked second by SmackDown because he's been a big deal in NXT. Kiana James has been in NXT for a while, but she's never won the women's title. Winning it could have made her more famous. What about her tag team partner, Izzy Dame? With so few picks on night 1, it would have made more sense to choose veterans like Lyra Valkyria or Blair Davenport. Valkyria was even a champ in NXT and appeared on WWE Raw a few times. James could have been picked later when there were more choices. Number 2, no trades mentioned. In the 2024 draft, champions from each brand couldn't be chosen, which was kind of a letdown. Before, when champions changed shows, it was a big deal. Since no champs moved to Raw or SmackDown this time, people thought there might be trades instead. But Nick Aldis, the guy in charge, didn't talk about trades. Instead, he set up a bunch of matches for Backlash, France. The problem was, they scheduled this event right after the draft. If champs are off limits, they should have at least talked about the possibility of trades. Number 3, many familiar faces ended up on the same brand. When all the selections were done, SmackDown's lineup didn't really change much from last year. They still had big names like AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, and LA Knight. Plus, Cody Rhodes, who won the undisputed WWE Championship, joined SmackDown's roster. So, they got another big star even though he wasn't drafted. On the other hand, Jey Uso and Seth Rollins stayed on Raw. With so many top stars on SmackDown, it's likely that 1 or 2 of them might turn into the bad guys, also known as heels. LA Knight hasn't reached the top as a good guy yet, so he'll probably stay that way. And Orton? Well, he's changed his character so many times that it's hard to keep track. Number 4, SmackDown's expected moves with NXT stars. Fans were hoping for some big surprises with NXT additions to the main roster. Carmelo Hayes was one of those ready to move up, but it wasn't a shock that he got picked in the 1st round, even before some former WWE champions. And since he was already wrestling on SmackDown, his selection by them wasn't much of a surprise. It would have been more unexpected if Raw had picked him in the 2nd round instead. No major shifts for big WWE stars. The 2024 draft was supposed to shake things up across all WWE brands, but it didn't quite deliver. While some wrestlers like Nia Jax and Andrade moved, there weren't any huge surprises. Seth Rollins could have switched to SmackDown, but his wife Becky Lynch is on Raw, so he stayed put. LA Knight could have challenged for the World Heavyweight title on Raw, but he stayed on SmackDown. Despite all the talk of big changes, night 1 of the draft didn't really bring much excitement. Even Bianca Belair, who's finished her rivalry with Bayley, stayed on SmackDown. WWE's partner was thrilled with Tony Khan's negative comments about the company. Tony Khan appeared on the NFL Network to promote the National Football League's 2024 draft. Khan made sure to take a dig at WWE, calling it an evil company and comparing it to Harvey Weinstein, and saying AEW is the Pepsi of the wrestling business. WWE fans took to social media to bash Tony Khan for his comments, but the NFL took the opposite approach. The NFL has a deal with WWE that was signed several months ago and is set to be a multi-year agreement. NFL high-ups are said to have been very pleased with Tony Khan's comments about WWE, Fightful Select reported. What do you think about Tony Khan's comments about WWE? WrestleMania XL's financial success finally revealed. WWE WrestleMania 40 was amazing. There's no doubt about that. Now a new report about the show just came out. Everyone pretty much expected the show to be a financial success, especially with the inclusion of The Rock and Roman Reigns in both main events. A post-show press release mentioned how 145,298 people attended Mania at Lincoln Financial Field across both nights. The first night brought in 72,543. with Night 2 bringing in $72,755. The event reportedly brought in a whopping $38.5 million in ticket sales. according to John Wall Street. This was up 78% from last year's gate and up 147% from the gate in 2022. Viewership was up 41% across both nights from last year's record. Merchandise sales were up more than 20% from the record set in 2023. WWE's last-minute changes to last night's draft on SmackDown. The 18th WWE Draft kicked off on SmackDown this week. Just before the draft, new details from the company got leaked. WWE had 30 main event stars on the list, with a few NXT stars eligible for draft picks. Top stars usually know which brand they are going to be drafted to before the show, but this year's draft was an exception. Fightful Select reported that just hours before the picks, no WWE star had internal details on where they were going to be drafted. It was also reported that NXT stars were not added to the draft pools to create a surprise factor, and no SmackDown or Raw star knew which draft pool they were in until this past Wednesday, when the list got posted on social media. Next up, there's a huge update on Vince McMahon's WWE status. Vince McMahon resigned from WWE just before the Royal Rumble earlier this year, after major accusations from his former employee. Brendan Coffey of Sportico recently reported that McMahon has now sold his remaining shares in TKO Group Holdings, Inc. to file a prospectus today, showing that McMahon could sell the 8.02 shares he holds in the company, which is worth more than $776 million. It was also reported that Nick Khan, the president of WWE, also listed all his TKO shares worth millions, but he will remain the president of WWE. We will update you if there's any further developments on this matter. Liv Morgan injured. After taking out Rhea Ripley and failing to win the Women's Royal Rumble match to determine the new women's champion, Liv Morgan has recently taken to social media to post a picture of her injury. Liv Morgan appears to have a black eye. There's no confirmation of how she got the injury, but it is most likely from the Royal Rumble match. Next up, Dominic Mysterio was injured too. On the most recent episode of Raw, Dominic Mysterio was spotted wearing a cast, but it was not made clear how he was injured. A recent report from WAN states Dominic Mysterio has suffered an ulnar collateral ligament (UCL) injury to his left elbow. Such an injury is caused by repeated stress from overhead movement and is commonly seen among sports people. Depending on the severity of a UCL injury, surgery could be required in some cases. Before the rumors of Dirty Dom doing surgery spread, he made sure to shut them by stating on his X account that he won't be doing any surgery. Why Brock Lesnar was not in the WWE Draft pool. Brock hasn't been on WWE TV since SummerSlam 2023, and Triple H shut down rumors of Lesnar no longer being with the company by stating the Beast is still part of the promotion. But the WWE Draft proves there's no plan in place for the Beast, as he was nowhere to be seen in the draft pools. Fightful Select reported that Brock Lesnar is a free agent, which could be one of the reasons why he was not in the draft pools. WWE has been avoiding Brock's name since his rumored involvement in the Janelle Grant lawsuit, but we could see him return since Triple H gave us hope. CM Punk provides an important injury update. CM Punk has been off TV after costing Drew McIntyre his championship opportunity and also costing him his title at WrestleMania XL. CM Punk was advertised for the WWE Draft edition of SmackDown, although it wasn't specified that he would be on the show. After SmackDown went off the air, he appeared and confirmed that while he isn't 100% recovered, the day of his return is getting closer. I wanted to give a little update. My tricep is not a 100% yet, but I promise soon I will be back and I'll be competing with all the tough stars backstage, said CM Punk. According to the nature of his injury, Punk is expected to return later this year, around September, and will be expected to continue his feud with Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns kicked out off the Bloodline. After losing his title, Roman Reigns has been away from WWE. He has put out an update saying that he is getting ready and training for a return, but when exactly he will return remains a mystery. This week on SmackDown, Paul Heyman revealed that Roman Reigns was out of the WWE Draft, implying that he will remain a SmackDown star. The Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Paul Heyman, and Tama Tonga were drafted to SmackDown. Sportskeeda is reporting that the way WWE mentioned the Bloodline while leaving out Reigns appears to confirm that they are thinking of the group without him in it. It seems that he has been kicked out of the group. The way WWE mentioned the Bloodline while leaving out Reigns appears to confirm that they are thinking of the group without him in it. It seems that he has been kicked out of the group. Sikoa, Tonga, and Heyman as a group are being referred to as the Bloodline, completely leaving out Roman Reigns. Do you believe that the Bloodline still includes Roman Reigns?